Hi everyone. So welcome back to the fourth day of the workshop, and so we could start the session. The today's session will be conducted by Dr. Teja. Uh, Hi Teja. I hope you could hear
Hello,
me.
Riteshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you're
Yeah,
audible.
thank you.
Yeah. So I guess we could start. It's over to
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Okay.
sure. Good day, everyone. So we can start with the session. And today, what we'll be learning is about classes and exception handling. So, so when we talk about classes, let us understand why. And when we talk about classes, we are actually learning about object-oriented concepts. And why this was invented, because it was earlier when C was there, it was more kind of procedural language where a lot of functions were there, and we try to call the functions, and that was okay, fine, because modular programming language also helps in reusing the functions wherever it's needed. But if at all I wanted to represent now, um, a real object, car, and it has its own data, dimensions, and also it has its own features. So, uh, so I do not have any data type to store the data of the um, features of the car. So, um, at all. If I have to store some dimensions of the car, will be color and the type of car, what is the fuel capacity, and what type of fuel it is, and things like that. I need the basic primitive data types, that is integer, strings, and so on. But together, if I want to store them, I will prefer storing them into one class, one chunk. So um, and it has its own functionality. So combining this entire data and the functionality together, okay, and representing them in form of one um, form, that can be done using classes. um, so we have different types of cars, and these are the real objects, and placing them as a blueprint um, on any of the document, so that is called as class. And let us understand how do we represent these classes using Python. Also, another feature that is very important over here in when object oriented concept was included was there are four things, that is encapsulation, uh, and that is hiding the data, okay, and binding the data to the functions together, that's called encapsulation, then inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. So inheritance, where if at all it has some basic features, okay, and that can be actually um, inherited or taken by some other um, objects, and then we can have a parent class, and child class can adopt the features of the parent class. So that's inheriting the features, okay. Polymorphism, where behavior of the function name is same, and it is performing two different tasks. So it's a polymorphic behavior of a function or of any operator. Example for this polymorphism could be plus sign, where plus addition, it performs the addition on to integer number, and it performs a concatenation. It concatenates the strings, two strings, when you use plus operator. Okay, so it has a polymorphic behavior. Okay, so let us understand how these concepts have been implemented in Python. So Python is one of the language where you try to write these object-oriented concepts. Also, there are many other languages like Java, C++, where you can write all these object-oriented concepts. So let us understand the classes in Python. So if at all you want to design your own class, you can write the name. Yeah, you can write class, a space name of the class, colon. Okay, this becomes the data members, that is x equal to 5, and this is a init is a function which is automatically called when object of this class is created. Now, when I said I used just now a word object over here, and I also said car is a object. It's a real object, okay. And if I at all represent car or types of the various types of car in form of class, and I create the object of a class, so there is a distinguish between these are two things. That is that one is a real object, and when we represent it using a class in any of the programming language, and then we create an object, an instance of that class, so called as object, that is called as software object. Okay, so there is a real object which you can feel, touch and all, and when you represent same in form of programming language, and then you try to create the object of that particular class, it is called as software object. So, and let us understand how do we do this. So we can write the class space name of the class colon, this is called as data members, x equals to 5, then define a space, this is inbuilt function is there, and we are overriding this function over here. And what first parameter it takes is the self, um, these are the brackets colon, and I'm just printing, I'm inside this function, and here I'm printing my class, and here it is printing underscore underscore main, the main underscore underscore dot name of the class. So this is a simple print statement. Moving ahead, when I'm trying to create an object of this particular class, what exactly happens? And first thing, how do we create the object of that particular class? So class is declared on top. Okay, very simple to declare a class. Name of the class space name that you want to give colon. Okay, come down, there is an indentation. You, if there it contains some data members, you declare them x equals to something. Okay, taking an example of a circle, the data member which is associated with that is radius, so radius equals to something, or you can initialize to 0, or see if it is float 0 0.0. Then there is a function init. Okay, this is already there, we are just overriding this function. So define space def space underscore underscore init underscore underscore in the bracket self. This is one way, and colon, and then you write the set of statements that you want to write under this function. Okay, this is how we declare a class. Create a object. To create the object of this class is the object name equal to my class and two brackets. So if I want to print p1 dot x, where x was the data member of class my class, and you can see when I am doing so, it is printing inside function init function and then 5. So when this class is declared, when this object is created, automatically it will call the function underscore underscore init underscore underscore. Okay, so it is printing what is inside this function. Okay, so inside init function, it is inside init function that is printed, and p1 dot x prints the data which is assigned to x. Okay, now so this init function, which is underscore underscore init underscore underscore, it is as a constructor which is automatically called when object is created of that particular class. Now going with a more um, specific example, if I want to represent a person details in form of class, and as you understand person details, there are many details can be stored of a person, like name, age, gender, then qualification, and so on, address, mobile number, and email ID, and so on. So that's exactly because so many data is available of that particular object. Okay, i I will eventually go with a class. So class person. Okay, either I could declare this name age here on top like I declared x. Okay, or directly you can assign it in the init class. That also will create these are the data members. Now if I want to initialize this data or assign the data to this, I am passing name and age as a parameter in the init function. So init function you can pass the parameters. Okay, um, as many as parameters you want, and that will help to initialize the data members of that particular class. Now this is end of the class. There are no functions that are created. Now coming out of this, it's out of the class, and then we can create object of that particular class, that is person in the bracket name of the person. Why I'm passing name of the person? Because by default this will call this particular function, and what is the parameters it is expecting? Name and the age. So name of the person and the age is been passed. This will create the object successfully. And if at all I want to check whether it has really assigned the name or no, then I can access using p1, the object name dot the data member name, and p1 dot age, that is the data member name. And can you see it is printing down John and 36. Likewise, p2 object is created with person Omkar and the age 28, and the respective name and age is been printed down. Okay, it is that simple. This I could also
Uh,
write in the next. Yeah.
Ma'am, what is the role of the self variable over there?
Ha. So self, what it will do, it will pass the address. Okay, when this object is created, actually by default here, the first parameter it will pass the address, and it is referring to that particular variable data member. So it is passing the address of p1.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so object uh, methods. So we try to create some of the functions in this. Those are called as methods of that particular class. Okay, so here if you want to create a function, functions are um, if I want to uh, calculate square of the number, will I every time write 2 5 asterisk asterisk 2, or the number given number asterisk asterisk 2 that will calculate the square of a number? Can I write a function and pass the value, and then the function returns me the value asterisk asterisk 2, the value of that, and that simple it is. So when we create a function, if it is required to be used again and again, it's better to create the function And this here when we create the function in class, it's particular to those functions will be totally dependent on this data. Okay, like I cannot create calculate area of a class in um, calculate area of a circle in class person, because that's totally not relevant. Okay, because person has its data, and then you can display the data of the person, or you can calculate age if the birth date is given, and so on. But try to see the functions which are writing in the class are totally particular to that particular class and the data that you have selected. So to write the function, it's a df space name of the function in the bracket self and colon, and you can print here we are printing just hello, my name is so and so. So after that the class, this is end of the class. You can write the function inside the class using def space name of the function in the bracket self and colon, and okay. I guess this was clear to you all. If it is not, I'll repeat this again. I don't
Uh,
know where it was.
Teja, I think
Yeah.
we lost your audio for a little while.
Yeah. So
So
was this audible to you?
I think it might be better to yeah, do this part again.
Yeah. Yeah. So earlier I said that we created the class and we created the object of that particular class, and then later we moved on to creating the function of that inside the class. So when we create the function, um, try to see that the functions which have been created are totally for this particular class and not for any other computation. Now what I'm saying is do not try to compute the area of a circle inside this class, because that is not related to the person. So that you take into consideration when you are dealing with classes. um, so self dot name equal to name, which will try to assign this name to the data member name and the age to this data member name. Now this is clearly, although the name and age, and over here the uh, variable is same name and age, it's quite different, because this is self dot name, this is a data member of this class, and this is a parameter from this function which is been assigned to this. The data of this parameter is assigned to the data member, and this function, you can write the function inside the class using def space name of the function. Inside self is the by default parameter that need to be passed, and then you, if you require, if there is more parameters that need to be passed, you can place comma and pass the more parameter. Now as of now I would like to display the name of the person whose object is created. So here the message is hello, my name is so and so, the self dot name. And when I create the object here p1 equal to person in the bracket priya comma 36, and p1 dot my function, what it is displaying is hello, my name is priya. So also I'm printing p1 dot name, which will print priya. okay, because that's what is assigned here. And just to confirm that whether it is assigned or no. Moving on to next example. This is how you can place the document message, what this class does. So class circle that calculates area and circumference, okay, of the read. And so likewise you can actually place the message for you. This is a documentation for this particular class. So what it does, in one line you can just place this into single quote. Math I have imported. So this is a math ready-made package. You can import this package, import math. I will be using Py from math package. Mm, So this is a inbuilt init functions which is implemented by default. It will be called so self, and I'm passing radius what I have assigned over here, and radius is assigned to the data member radius. Now if you see the difference, I have placed here underscore underscore. So coming to the property that I have mentioned, one of the property that is encapsulation. What it says is hiding the data from the end user. So hiding the data from the end user means what? Actually, this it should not allow me this doing. It should not allow me to do this. That is p1.name. I should not get access to the data directly from outside the class. So that means it was not following encapsulation. And why it is not following encapsulation? Whenever you declare the data something data member like this, it is public. Okay, the visibility of this is public, and at all you want to keep it private. Of any data that you can place to underscore sign, and the data will be private. Okay, and I have placed down here where I cannot access radius outside the class. I show you. So we'll go statement by statement, and at all you want to set the data, you can use this init function itself, and also you can use setters. So set radius, you can write self. This is a function that is written by you. Self comma the radius that is passed, and that you will assign the radius to this particular data member. Okay, then here also, if you want to display data, as if we cannot access the data right outside the class, you can use getters. It is called as setters getters. So getter get radius, and just place self, because you are not passing anything, you are returning the data. So return self dot underscore underscore radius. That will return the assigned data to this particular data member. Then get area is the function that is there for a class circle. And how do we compute area of a circle? 2 pi pi r square. So from using math function, we try to take the value pi. So math dot pi, which is built-in value, multiplied by radius into radius. Okay, that is assigned to area, and area is written by, and get circumference, it's 2 pi r, right? So pi 2 multiplied by 2 and multiplied by r, and that will return the circumference of the circle. Now coming to this circle, I'm creating a circle 1 from the class circle, and what is the parameter which is expected over there is radius. Okay, so radius is passed over here 5. So circle dot get radius, it should display 5. That means it has initialized the radius to the data member, and that will be assigned to the radius. Okay, and so I can also get the radius with the help of class name dot get radius and pass the object name as a parameter. It's the same function. Okay, so we are passing the address in the get radius, so it will refer to the same radius. Trying to print the data, that is this content radius and radius over here, radius and this radius is getting printed over here. Okay, so and coming here down, you can see this is 5 and this is 5 which is getting printed. Okay, again I'll explain you this. I have created the object of class circle, which is here circle1, and I can access the radius using circle1 dot get radius. It will be stored in this radius variable, and also I can get radius, the data member data, using circle, that is the name of the class dot the function. Inside that I'm passing the object name. Okay, both are returning 5 over here. Yeah, because of this print message. Now I can get the area of that particular circle with the help of this circle 1 dot get area, and it will return area over here, and I can print the area. So um, so what will be the area? Has 5, you can compute it. 50 78 dot 53 is the area which is returned, and circumference has computed. So dot get circumference is the function that we wrote, and we can call that function. It returns the data, and that is stored in circum1, and that is printed over here. And what is the message it is giving? Circumference of the circle is so and so. Now, point over here that I want to explain in this statement, I cannot access this data member outside the class. Why? Because the visibility I have kept as a private. And for this statement, can you see after circumference it is throwing an error saying that circle object has no attribute underscore underscore radius, and the statement is false because it has attribute underscore underscore radius, but point is that it is not accessible outside the class. Okay, now there are some ready-made um, data which is there available for any of the class. To consider any of the class where you need not create the object of the class. Okay, directly the name of the class dot underscore underscore doc, it will print what document message that I had given earlier. Circle class that calculates area and circumference. Okay, slash and radius was there, that was printed here. So this is the message that I gave earlier. So that is can be accessed using dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. Name of the class can be accessed using class dot underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So whenever you see something underscore underscore name underscore underscore, those are inbuilt variables or inbuilt functions. Then coming to dict, that is it stores function name and things like that. Okay, entire thing about the class, as you can see over here, init, get circumference, and radius, get area, the document, everything is stored, that is in dict. So underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. The main module name is stored underscore underscore module underscore underscore, that is the main. And important thing over here, just check dot underscore basis underscore underscore. This tells the base class of this particular class. If you see, I have just created one class and I do not have a base class for that, but it is returning me output as class object, and that means there is a class object which is existing, that is inbuilt, and whatever we try to write now henceforth, it's the base class is the class object, and that is the parent class, so that is by default. Okay, so here by default, here it is supporting inheritance, so there is something called base class already, that is a class object, and we are writing our own classes with class circle or rectangle or so on, and actually it is following inheritance inbuilt. Okay, and we'll also come across what is inheritance and how do we write inheritance later on. So if this is clear, over here again I have created a circle 2 from circle class and assigned the radius as 5, and here I am trying to tell you is y- um, I used over here there get radius to get the data. Here also I can use to get the radius. Okay, get attr attribute, it is a built-in function, get attr. Here it takes two parameters. One is the object name, and the second is the data member name. And that particular object data will be returned to you without using get radius function. Okay, that was written by me explicitly. So get attr. Okay, and if you want to set data, you can use set attr. In the bracket it takes three parameters. One is the object name, second is the data member name to which the value to be set, and the third is the value to be assigned to that particular data member. So here I have used this two and trying to print the data. Okay, so this will return none because it will set and finish it off. It is not returning anything, but get will return data, so it is returning 5 from this object. Okay, 5 is assigned and I am just accessing the circle to data, and it is 5 and it is true. Set actually did it, so there no error. Okay, what it is returning is none, and just want to check whether it has assigned or no the radius. I am using get attr, the circle to as the object and the radius, and it is changed to 11. Okay, and also this is a function has attr, just to check whether this particular object has a radius data member. So these are the ready-made functions which can make your life little easy without writing get radius and set radius. So here it is get radius and set radius. If you use any of the class, it will depend on data member what you are trying to get and set. So these are also called as accessor and mutator. Um, so explicitly you can write this function, that is um, self dot underscore underscore my underscore underscore attr. Okay, so this is a variable attribute, my attribute, and underscore underscore makes it private. This is a data assigned to that. And coming to this set underscore my attr, this is a function which is written, self is taken, always taken, and comma the value which is passed to be set over here. Likewise you can write the get function and you can get the value, that is you need to return the value. So you can use any of this and try to set the data and get the data accordingly. Okay, So um, here we have assigned the created the object, and then object name dot get my attribute and object name dot set my attribute, and that is displaying 3 and 7. All right. Now again understanding same thing with another example. Student, a class student, where it is storing all its data: roll number, name, stream, mark list, percentage, grade, division. um, so uh, I can write I can write for each of these data the getters and setters. Okay, as you can see this data. Just give me 1 minute. I'll plug in the charger. Okay, so we are back. So set marks list, and you can use the function the for loop I in the range of 0 to 5. Depends on what marks you want to set, and you can set the mark list. And actually this is the user input that can be taken, that is input. Inside that some message, enter this, and you can actually ask the user to enter the input. By default it will give you string of the type string, so you can convert it to float and try to append to the mark list. So this is list, this is a list. You must have come across this list, and we can append the data using dot append function. Okay, this is inbuilt function for this particular list. Now coming to next, that is get stream. I have written get stream. So likewise you can write the getters and setters, so you may not write also getters and setters. Try to use that get and set attr. Okay, so that is also okay. um, so important over here is for calculation, displaying the percentage or calculating the grade. So that can be done. Those are the functions that I have implemented here, and it calculates the sum of the mark list into 100 divided by 500. So that is the percentage, and that will be returned from here. Likewise, grades are computed based on the percentage, and it will be assigned to the grade. And this is all about the class. And coming out of the class, that is take the input for the roll number, take the input for the name, then take the input user. These are the user input at the runtime for the string. Okay, then student, I'm creating an object passing this roll number, name, string over here. Then student1 dot set mark list, that will call the function. And if you have seen, I have shown you different ways I have taken the inputs, and over here I have taken input inside the function only using the for loop. That will set the marks, and then it will student1 dot calculate percentage, it will be calculated and assigned to the percentage data member. It can print this percentage, and also the grade will be assigned to the data member after calling this function grade generation, and then it will be assigned. And these are the output of it. So if you see, there were a lot of functions for the particular class or particular real-time object, and writing them separately, it doesn't make any sense. So binding the function and the data together, okay, and hiding the data from the end user. setting the visibility as private makes it gives the property encapsulation, fulfills this property of object oriented programming language. Yeah. So next is the abstract data type that I would like to touch upon. Um, you must I There's something called as stack queue that we try to use often. Queue is a normal um, word that we usually use. I'm standing in a queue, and what is the functionality of the queue? Like, you are trying to, it's first come, first serve. Whoever comes first will be served and will finish the work and go. So last, whoever comes will be appended last. So likewise, the functionality of the stack is the data is inserted on the top always, and it will be popped first, the last in uh, first. It's last in first out. So uh, the data which is inserted last will be out first. So there are various data structures like this, which are there, and at all we try to create a abstract data type and try to write the class for this. Okay, stack and all queue. What will be landed up is again and again we need not write the class for this particular data types, and we can just use these functions again and again. Just with four function we can perform that operation, whatever is the data type, data structure that need to be implemented. So class tag, one of the data type, data structure, that is class tag, and we are defining the underscore underscore init underscore underscore function. This is overwritten, and there's a list. Okay, list of items which are initially assigned nothing is assigned, it's null. And there are various functions for this stack. It is empty, we can check. Okay, um, then if you want to push the data inside the stack, you can do that. And the simple operation that I'm performing is that um, self dot items dot insert. So this is a list, and dot insert, it will insert at first position. So okay, so I have shown you over here exactly how the list works. This is an empty list, and when I try to insert one at 0th position, what is displaying and printing the list, it is displaying 1 over here. Okay, dot insert at 0th position, data 2. Okay, and I'm displaying the list over here, and you can see 2 comma 1. Actually otherwise we inserted 2 later. It should have been, if I do not put this now 0 0 and run the code, the output will be something. The output will be something 1 2. Okay, and if I try to insert the data, so that's the functionality of the stack, where the data is inserted first. Okay, it's always inserted first, and the first which is inserted data, the last which is inserted data is removed first. Yeah, so this is how it is implemented. So what we require is pushing the data, then pop the data up. Okay, so this insert 0 comma item is the value that is passed over here. It will be inserted in this list, item list, and the last inserted data will be on top. Okay, that is at index 0. And if you want to pop any item, you shall pop from prop at index 0, and that's the functionality of the stack. If we want to peek is just to see what is there at the index 0, it will just access this, it won't pop up. Okay, so this pop function will delete the data from the stack. So this is how we can write any of the data structure which is existing, and only what is what the end user is uses is only this functionality. Okay, he may not implement again and again this entire class. Yes, so there is we pushed one, pushed mm, up two, and s dot pop when I use, so what it returns 2, because 2 is pushed last, so last in first out. Yes. Now, the next thing is the we will be touching upon inheritance, and this is simply I try to explain over here. There's a rectangle class, and which has the attribute color, width, length. These are the three common attribute I have figured out over here. There are many attributes you can figure out for a rectangle. So color I'm setting, say getting the color, area I'm calculating. Then there is a class circle which can have also color, right? And here the other dimension, the data is data that is there is the radius. So the radius and color. Now color over here, circle and color to this, it's other than the value, the data member is same, right? So can I get all these common data members together is a question. Okay, so that the code is not getting repeated again and again. So if I am trying to do that, getting them together, that means I have something called as class shape. So for all the shape, it will be any shape, it will be square or triangle, there will be color if we are filling it, or there is a boundary that we are trying to fill it. So can the color variable come together in the shape class, and then we can write, see, this is just class shape, and where we have the data member color, and we are setting and getting the color over here. So setters I have not written because I have assigned it using this directly using init method, and I can get the color from this. Okay, now class circle, can I can inherit these properties inside another class using this particular syntax. Now inheritance, what did I say? Whatever common features which have been shared by which will be used later, you can incorporate those features. Okay, you need not write them again for a new class. All right, so this class shape, whatever common things are there, you can place it over here, and we can inherit the functionality inside another class. So in this case, this becomes base class, and this is the derived class. In other words, I say this is the parent class and this is the child class. And earlier what I mentioned, when I use underscore underscore base, we have a bigger parent class, that is the object class. Okay, so this is inheritance which is written by the user or the programmer. So we have a class shape, and now see, this also will have a init method, self comma radius comma color I am passing over here, and this color I will be passing into the parent init method. Okay, only color here is passed, and here the radius is assigned to this particular data member. Now when I calculate area, what it will return? Pi r square. Okay, so likewise for rectangle, I can inherit the feature from the shape class, and similarly I can perform this operation. Now when I write create the object of the class C circle, that is C1, and what are the parameters which are passed is 10 comma black color, and 10 is the radius where we calculate the area, and the area is what? Area is printed over here 314, that is pi into 100. Only the decimal places are moved. So, and the color which is assigned is black. Okay, c1 dot get color. So this shows me that using the object c1, I was able to access the assign the color to the data member color which is there in the shape class. Okay, so that's all about inheritance. Okay, so you can actually implement more and more features and get the features displayed. Okay, so all these features which I have implemented, creating the rectangle, setting length and breadth, and trying to print the area of it, parameter, then get the color. So all this is done. Okay, so this is shape class which was there. I have implemented another shape class over here. Okay, similar it is. You can include more function. And other way to access this super method is using super dot, that is the parent init method, using super bracket dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore. That is another way to access the method. Yes. Okay, so coming to the last property, that is polymorphism. Just tell you what is polymorphism. I told you about the plus plus sign, plus 5 plus 2, which will add this number and return the sum of it. But if I use this plus for the string, what it will do? It will concat these two strings and return the resultant string. Okay, likewise length. Length is a function. I can pass the string over here as well as I can pass list. Both, for both it is performing the same result, that is calculating the length of the string or calculating the length of the list. So it is a having a polymorphic behavior. Another example where we can define, I have written a function add x comma y comma z equal to 0. I'm trying to add all of this. So either I can access using add 2 comma 3. I can use access the same function using add 2 comma 3 comma 4. Okay, both will actually refer to the same function and produce the resultant answer. If you assign it to 0, that means data is already assigned. This parameter will not be passed, and at all if you pass the parameter, it will take the value which is been passed to the parameter. So a more concrete example for polymorphism and inheritance together. So we have a class bird. Okay, define intro of the bird class. Okay, there are many types of birds, and flight, how whether they fly or no, and most of the birds can fly but some cannot. So sparrow is another class. Okay, now define flight. Now this, it's the same, since bird is being inherited, it's a base class of the derived class sparrow or parent class of the child class sparrow, we can actually implement this function again, and this is sparrow can fly. The next class is ostrich, and it says that it cannot fly. And when I try to create the object of this bird, okay, then object of sparrow, object of the each of the classes, and trying to print with help of object the intro and the flight, with sparrow intro and the flight, and ostrich intro and the flight. And what it is giving me, there are many types of bird. Most of the birds can fly, but some cannot. There are many types of birds, sparrows can fly. So each, there are many types of birds is the common thing, and flight was we have implemented for each of the classes again. So if we create the object of this particular class, it will try to print the message from this particular class. Else if this is not implemented here, it will try to print the message from the parent class. Okay, so this is the same name of the function. The question is whether it calls the this function or the function from the parent class. So whichever is existing, it will call the function. uh, Another more concrete example where this is very much useful, and try to listen to this example properly. Okay, now class vector. Here I have also implemented the inbuilt functions. I have actually overwritten the inbuilt functions which are existing. When we say plus, no, it will call this underscore underscore add underscore underscore function. Okay, so I'll just tell you. So vector is a class which has the data a and b. Okay, which takes this is been initialized using a comma b from here, and the data is assigned to a and b. Now we have defined all these functions are inbuilt functions. I have overwritten this function because I want to perform something like this. Then it will make sense to you. If I want to add two numbers, I was adding using 2 plus 3. If I want to subtract two numbers, I was adding using 2 minus 3. Likewise multiplication, division, and so on. Now this vector is a object. I want to add two objects, and this is possible, if I try to implement each of the function which are inbuilt. Okay, and I have implemented them. So underscore underscore str underscore underscore which will just print the message that vector person d, it will try to print this data over here and this data over here. Okay, and add function underscore underscore add underscore underscore. Now what it will return when I say v1 plus v2, okay, this other will become v2 and v1 will be self. The address will be stored in self, and in other address of v2 will be stored. So self dot a plus other dot a, self dot b plus other dot b. So based on whatever is the computation, you can compute and return the result. So what it will return? It will return a vector. And why it will return a vector? Because I have assigned over here vector, given vector, and you can see this is the one parameter and this is the other parameter. Okay, which if I do not implement this, you won't be able to do this operation v1 plus v2. So this is actually overriding of the inbuilt functions which is already existing, which is a polymorphic behavior. Okay, and likewise subtraction, that is underscore underscore subtract underscore underscore, that is taking self dot a minus other dot a and self dot b minus other dot b, converting it to vector and returning it. Likewise multiplication, and for division it is true divide. Okay, true divide is for division. Yeah, so I have created the object of this vector and simple C. Otherwise this was not possible. v1 plus v2 v1 minus v2 v1 into v2 division, and it is returning respective vector.
So, Teja, just a question. So, if we have not implemented, say, for other operators, like exponential or the other division that's there, so they will not work with these vectors, right? So only these four are you have overridden. So only four of these operations will work on the objects of this class. Okay, guys, I think so. Teja has lost her network. Probably she'll be able to connect back soon. We'll wait for 3-4 minutes. If she doesn't, then we'll end this session, and I'll ask her if she could come in the lab session. Then she'll talk. If there are things that are left, she'll talk about that in the lab session. But we'll wait 3-4 minutes more for her to be able to connect back.
Okay. Yeah. Was the last part clear to you, or
Yeah, I had a question. Did you get the question?
no,
Or
no, no?
yeah, the question was that if we have not implemented the other operators, so we have implemented addition, subtraction, multiplication, so something like exponential, double star, or division, the float wala division. So those will not work with this vector objects, right? Only these four operations will work.
Yeah, whichever is having inbuilt functions, no, we can operate it. We can work. Okay, and that is also another thing. Okay, based on the object like vectors, exponential. I don't know. So that's the reason I didn't go for it.
Okay, okay. I think we could move ahead then.
Yeah. So last is the exceptions. And then I'll just present my screen for you. Okay, exceptions are quite easy. What is exception now? First, okay, normal scenario. Division is working fine. Okay, um, and the divider is could be anything runtime generated. Any point of time it can be zero, right? That will true, and there is a exceptional case. Otherwise, division operation works fine. If it is divided by zero, it will throw in a it's a exception case. So your program is fine, working fine, but there can be some exceptions which can occur. Okay, so only that need to be handled. Like if you're working with file, you have written program perfectly, and it's totally fine. But only assumptions that the file should be present, and at all file is not present by some due to some reason, and that can occur with any of the user. Okay, when you create the application for many users, so only thing, the application should handle this types of exception, and it should not terminate the program. So in that case, what will happen, your program will run, and you can give a proper message to the user saying that so and so things have occurred, and either you can tell the user to rectify, or it can be rectified, or it can be ignored and moved on. Yeah, so it's basically using try except block. Mm, in other language it is try catch block. In Python it is try except block. So here I have typed something like this: print y. So for me this program, I think it looks fine, but actually y is not yet defined, declared anywhere in the program. So it will throw an error if I tell you. So if I try to print something like this in y, what it should do, it will throw an error because it, it is not defined. Okay, so let it throw error. So we can handle this using try and accept block. So it's what is the error? There's name error. There are many errors to the names. There are many names which are given to particular errors, like division, divide by zero, and so on. File not found. Um, so name error, name y is not defined. So what will happen if I try to print something like this in a normal program? It will terminate the program, how it terminated here. But in this scenario, it won't terminate the program. Just check. Try print y exception. Exception if occurred, try to handle it, and exception occurred, and then I can come out and print, continue my work. So what it will do, it will handle this exception. Sure, Okay, and then it will proceed normally as it is proceeding. Okay, so point is now we can have many exceptions. If you want, if you know exactly what type of exception that it is referring to, yeah, please go ahead and say except name error. Why did I say name error? I came to know over here it's a name error. Okay, and there are list of all the names of the errors which are there. And yeah, and I can give a very personalized message saying that variable y is not defined, and except something else went wrong. Okay, so if I do not know, you can place a general message for the user. So variable y is not defined, and it will print this and come out, because it already handled the exception in one case. Likewise, there's one more thing, finally. So try, except, finally. These are the three things which are there. So try, except, finally. It will handle the exception. Finally, it will print this message. Okay. All the, if whether exception occurred, not occurred, it will try to print this message. Okay, that's all. And you can have inside the try also the nested try. That is also fine. Okay. So I told you write some statements over here. Divide by 0. You can actually handle this also with try. Hmm. So likewise nested tries also. Okay, so nested try exceptions also you can write. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, any questions are there, then I would like to take it.
Okay, Teja, I think Salman has a question. He wants you to, probably repeat the vector class that you were describing.
Yeah, sure. So vectors, it is a class. Um, I'll repeat entire thing. Um, so we have some data that I have stored. That is A and B. Um, and here we have assigned some values to that. Okay, A and B, and um, then Here I have implemented the inbuilt methods which are already existing. So str underscore underscore str underscore underscore prints the whenever you say mm, print when you print the name of the object, no, it gives you the object name is this. So actually inbuilt it calls underscore underscore str underscore underscore. What I did is I overrided that method, and I am trying to print the content of the vector. So this is a and this is b. So it will display in some similar fashion. So vector bracket the number comma bracket the number bracket. Okay, so this is the pattern it will try to display. Now add will try to add these two vectors, and if I want to add the vector, logically what I'll do, I'll try to add the same variables and the same a and b of the two vectors. So basically then I want to return and show that it is a vector. So I have created a vector over here, and in the bracket I am adding a plus other dot a. That is, this will take vector 1 and the other will take vector 2, like this. When I say v1 plus v2, no, here it will call this underscore underscore add function, and v1 will address will be stored in self and v2 address will be stored in other. And here it is adding a plus a, that is of v2 and v1, and b plus b of v2 and v1. And if you see the fashion that I have assigned over here is in vector, and it is returning vector. So when it is returning vector, it will be stored in, I am trying to print that vector, and when it prints, actually it will call the underscore underscore str function, and it will print this data in this similar fashion. So can you see that it is printing in the similar fashion which I have assigned over there? Okay. Likewise for subtraction, it's a similar way. A minus the v1 dot a minus v1 v2 dot a, and v1 dot b minus v2 dot b, and it will return the vector, and that will be printed as in the similar fashion I have mentioned over here. Likewise for multiplication and division. Yes, that's it. Is it clear?
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, how are you defining the other variable, like you define the self variable?
Other
Other
um,
variable, there is one self variable and the other variable. So
mm,
you have defined the self variable up,
mm,
but
yeah.
I didn't see like you define the other variable. So how is that working?
Other is over here, no?
Okay. No, go a little bit up. Yeah. So here you have defined the self dot a is equal to a and self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Because it has only one. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
vector,
got
no?
it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, got it. Thank you, ma'am.
So I guess both. Uh, Teja, just one clarification: is it the case that self is a reserved keyword, right? So self always has to be written as self. It cannot be any other name. But is it so the case with other as well, or other could be any variable name? Okay, guys, I think it's time to close this session now. So, if there would be questions, probably Teja will join in the lab session, which will start in an hour or so. And so, let's take a break till then. And if there are questions, please come in there, and we would be able to help you out with those questions as well. Okay, so I close this session now, and thank you very much.